right, welcome to the Patriot Hour for Thursday, June 13th, 2019. I am Michael, your host. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for giving us some of your time. We know you're busy. Your time is valuable. Folks, we got a few things to get into here today. Trump yesterday gave a little interview out of the Oval Office with George. Can't even remember his last name, but we'll get into it here. Very interesting. Lots of buzz going on around about it because Trump said, you know, he'd take a phone call in 2020, late 2019, sometime in 2020. All just talk, right? I believe he had a big mirror out at that point and it was just showing back to show the hypocrisy. All right, folks. Tons of things. So let's just get right into it here. If you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed. Welcome to the Patriot Hour. Returning Patriots, fellow Patriots, welcome back. Again, take a look in the description box. Typically, any articles we go over, the link will be down below, along with all the other links. Tons of donations in the last week. Tons of sharing going on. I can see that from external sources through the analytics. All right, you guys are doing your job. I truly appreciate it. We are heavily shadow banned here on YouTube just for trying to get the truth out. Again, don't take anything we say here to be truth or 100% word. In the collection of, in our trials of learning and going over tons of different articles and just a collective of information from around the web, folks. It's almost like you're going to come across bad information. You're going to have to use your discernment, connect your own dots, and come to the best conclusions based off everything that we dig into, okay? In the intelligence communities, looking at bad info is part of the job. Being able to determine what's bad, what's good, what's relevant, what's not is also part of the job. And you'll only get better at that as you follow along. So again, we encourage, listen to everything, read everything you can, listen to anybody you want. If it's relevant to what you're doing, and but believe none of it until you can verify that. Okay, here, let me just get this article up. And here we are. We'll go to the chicks on the right for this article. Did Trump just throw blood into the Democratic shark-infested waters? Or did he state the obvious? Okay, so I actually have had some debating going on social media all morning about this very thing, and it was interesting. I should bring it up. But, okay, so apparently people are freaking out this morning over the fact that Trump omitted George. I was going to say George, but this snuffleupagus. That's what they got, snuffleupagus. If a foreign entity were to offer him dirt on an opponent, he'd listen. So first of all, we can just take a moment to acknowledge that Trump allowed George 2 days of shadowing. George followed Trump around for 2 straight days. George Stephanopoulos, the guy who's like BFFs with the Clinton, was given a huge access to the president. Will Democrats give Trump credit for that enormous level of transparency? Don't hold your breath. So anyway, during one of the sit-downs, George asked Trump about the interference into our elections by foreign agents. Check this out at the 2-minute and 23-minute mark. I got that video right here. So let's take a listen.
Between the Trump campaign and Russia.
And then the report comes out, and they didn't even say, they hardly even talked about it.
Should he have gone to the FBI when he got that email?
Okay, let's put yourself in a position. You're a congressman. Somebody comes up and says, hey, I have information on your opponent. Do you call the FBI? I don't think.
Coming from
I'll tell you
Russia,
what,
you do.
I've seen a lot of things over my life. I don't think in my whole life I've ever called the FBI. In my whole life. You don't call the FBI. You throw somebody out of your office. You do whatever you do.
Al Gore got a stolen briefing book. He called the FBI.
Well, that's different. A stolen briefing book. This isn't a stolen. This is somebody that said, we have information on your opponent. Oh, let me call the FBI. Give me a break. Life doesn't
The
work that
FBI
way.
director says that's what should happen.
The FBI director is wrong.
Your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on an opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it. If I thought there was something wrong, I'd go maybe to the FBI if I thought there was something wrong. But when somebody comes up with Oppo research, right? They come up with Oppo research. Oh, let's call the FBI. The FBI doesn't have enough agents to take care of it. But you go and talk honestly to congressmen. They all do it. They always have. And that's the way it is. It's called Oppo research.
So let's get back to
So
George
there you
tonight.
go.
George.
That right there. So at first, I'm not going to lie either. Just like this article says, yeah, I got a little wincy. What is he saying here? This sounds bad. But then it's like, oh man, he pulled out a big mirror, in my opinion. And then once he started bringing up Oppo research, because that's exactly what the Clintons did. Nobody seems to have a problem with this. Huge fact. And folks, that's the biggest issue. So let's finish this article up, and then we'll get into a little bit of discussion. So when I first heard that this morning, I'm not going to lie, I winced a little. And then I sat with what he said for a few minutes, and I realized he's simply saying out loud what literally every other politician would do and does. And exactly what Hillary Clinton did, what we just lived through in order to start this entire witch hunt to begin with. Wonder if George asked her about that. That's a huge difference between learning something about your opponent and colluding with another government to take down your opponent in a nefarious way. So under 11 CFR 110.20, Section B, campaign finance laws prohibits foreign national from contributing or donating money to other money or other thing of value, or even expressively or implicitly promising to do so in connection with any federal, state, or local election. That makes this punishable for the foreign actor to do so. The same law also makes it illegal to accept such a contribution or donation, which could arguably be considered just listening, as President Donald Trump put it, to information about a political opponents obtained by a foreign actor. So even just arguably just by listening. So, subsection H1 of the law states no person shall knowingly provide substantial assistance in acceptance or receipt of contribution or donation prohibited by paragraphs B through D through G through this section. So whether just listening constitutes substantial assistance in accepting information about political opponents, thing of value, would be the major issue to prove in a campaign finance violation case related to accepting that kind of data from a foreign actor. What do you think? Do you think hearing information equates to a campaign donation? But naturally, all Democrats running to unseat Trump are losing their collective shit about this. Here you go. We got some Joe Biden. President Trump is once again welcoming foreign interference into our elections. This isn't about politics. It's a threat of our national security. An American president should not seek their aid and abet those who seek to undermine democracy. When the President of the United States openly welcomes foreign help to win an election, he threatens the very core of our democracy. If we are to secure justice and ensure this never happens again, we must impeach him. Ooh, so it never happens again. The Mueller report made it clear a foreign government attacked our 2016 elections to support Trump. Trump welcomed that help, and Trump obstructed the investigation. Now he said he'll do it again, all over again. It's time to impeach Donald Trump. Did Trump run the 2016 election? We had a president back then. China is listening, Russia is listening, North Korea is listening. Let's speak the truth. This president is a national security threat. It's time for Congress to begin impeachment proceedings. Okay, so you guys get the idea. If Democrats want to clutch their pearls about this so hard, why are they not interested at all in how this collusion narrative began in the first place? Why aren't they interested in how Hillary financed Fusion GPS opposition research about Trump, and which ultimately resulted in Christopher Steele working to put together the whole phony dossier about Russia? They paid for that. You guys. Meanwhile, Trump is saying that a foreign leader picked up the phone and said, hey, you want to hear something cray about your opponent? He wouldn't hang up. So freaking what? Now, all that said, Trump stepped in with this answer because he basically sliced open his jugular in the middle of the ocean of the Democratic sharks. It's self-inflicted and necessary wound. On the other hand, it is a fantastic way to open up the discussion again about how the entire Russia collusion narrative began. Let's talk about that some more. Democrats wanna? Let's talk about the dossier some more and how it came to be. Incidentally, I checked Hillary's Twitter feed. She's oddly quiet about this. Your guys' thoughts. All right, so that is the whole point, folks. So this morning I found myself unwittingly doing that same thing on social media. Article came up about Trump saying he would take a phone call. I put the dossier was used on him. It was from a British man, Christopher Still. They are still using it now, or it's at the tail end. Why is it a big deal if Trump takes a phone call? But not if the Democrats do it. The question just exposed a whole Democrat party. Now somebody chimed in like, why is it not a big deal if Trump does this? And I said, hey, why is it not that Hillary and the DNC did so? The dossier used against Trump came from an ex-British intelligence officer. That is foreign. Answer that first, and we can move on. Then somebody chimed in. Still is not a foreign nation. Read the law. Trump said he will break it if he wants to. This is some other guy that chimed in. I was like, Matt, this guy, we'll keep his first name, Hostetler, Still was a ex-foreign British intelligence MI6. He gave and wrote a bullcrap dossier, handed it to Hillary. They paid for. They gave it to the FBI. This is not interference into the U.S. election. It all was, all right? It was a fake dossier, and it was foreign influence. So I'm not going to bore you guys with every single... This other guy comes back and asks me why I'm not upset with one, but maybe for the other. I was like, that was my point. Folks, this is the point. We're just trying to prove points. And this is what happens. This is how it comes out. So Trump can't take a phone call that randomly rings. And they say they have dirt. Or like he said, he'd listen closely, tell the FBI if anything bad comes up or illegal in the conversation. He's just kind of pushing. But Hillary can go pay someone from a foreign country to get dirt, which is foreign interference into our election. By the way, in my book, that's premeditated. Hillary, DNC, they sat out to go get something. Did they call the FBI? No, only after they were all done and got this book paid for and all the dirt they wanted in a really nice put together form, got it back and then ran to the FBI because it was all purposely done to go to the FBI. But to me, that's premeditated. Where a phone call rings, it's not. They set out to get dirt and paid for it with foreign people, then turned it into the FBI to get an FBI investigation started. And then 3 years later, today, nothing. But you claim what that Trump said he might do in 2020 is worse than then he went on to tell me, well, that's the past. See how they do that? They want to subvert law. That's not equal justice. So until justice happens and people see that this shouldn't happen, I will play this way. This is what I was telling him. Just look at the other guy that's commenting in here. My point is exactly made. So honestly, I'm with you. I'm with this guy, I told him. But why no justice for the other angle? Do you see the damage? Do you think like this other guy, this Hostetler guy that's commenting? I mean, look how he thinks. Why didn't you pound it into them? Why aren't you pounding into this guy that's commenting? Why no obstruction charges on Hillary for not turning over emails, turning in smashed phones by sledgehammers, bleach bit used on servers? I mean, all kinds of blatant obstruction, but nobody around her got charges. It's all getting corrected, though. And he put, wow, that's straight garbage. It shows that you don't care about the actual law. I said, equal justice under the law. If not, then don't expect anyone else to make sense, because it doesn't. Tired of hearing about Hillary? We were tired of her not getting any charges on clear-cut crimes, and even obstruction charges at a minimum. It's super clear. Then he puts, Hillary hasn't been relevant in over 3 years. Donald made these statements yesterday. Either be for the law or not, but quit cherry picking. It doesn't reflect well. I said, nope. It's never been equally applied to anyone until Trump. But it's all been projections of their own crimes. You need to apply that to his own logic. You don't care about anything unless it's Trump. And I go, apply that to your equal justice. You make 0 cents. You aren't for anything equal, it seems. She has been relevant the whole time. Who paid for the dossier? She did. Of course she'd be kind of quiet for 3 years. Her work was done. She left. I'm calling it the ghost of Hillary's past. The ghost of Hillary's past was here all along. She left behind a paid, foreign, colluded, and paid for a dirty dossier that just ended and wasted tons of our taxpayers' dollars. What's up with that? Not relevant, you claim? Good thing. I put good thing you just flip burgers at Taco King. All right, there's nothing wrong with, Taco King doesn't even exist. Taco King, you guys can figure that out. I put good day. So then he told me, I'm a nurse, bro, but there's nothing wrong with being a fast food worker. You probably wouldn't last a day dealing with whiny Karen's grease burns. And I was already writing something else. I said, no, Obama was spying since 2012 on political enemies, judges, journalists. This is just coming out now after all of this noise. A year going by doesn't exonerate the guilty party. Look at you trying to prove points of subverting laws. It doesn't look good on you, buddy. And Trump just got in the way. They spied on all the people in 2016 the whole time. Never said working at fast food was bad. I said good thing you do it. Versus landing airplanes or making any true major decisions about this country. Some people are best suited for the latter. So then I put, this now getting into a little, he had said several things. I won't even come back, but I put calling Nurse Aaron, time to flip a meat sack, time for patient's sponge bath. Very similar, you think? Not far off. He put adorable. So basically, his non-response to any more, he was out of the fight. He got it. Now he did put, we did fine moving 40 house seats and 8 governorships and 300 state legislation seats, and GOP got. So he's talking about the 2018 election. And I was like, good point. I go, if you're worried about a phone call in 2019, 2020 in the future, that is yet to even happen. It's all make-believe. It was a question. But you aren't interested in how Hillary financed fusion GPS opposition research about Trump, and which ultimately resulted in Christopher Steele working to put the dossier together about Russia. The fake dossier, by the way. He was a foreigner. The lie played out by Democrats and 92% of the media airwaves. I think the election of 2020 was interfered with by the fake news lies of the dirty dossier. So the point you were looking for is right here all around you. You're dancing all around it. The dossier Russia lie influenced people to vote differently, thinking Trump was a Russian. Do you have a concern? And what did Obama do to stop any of this in 2016? He was president at the time. And then he just comes back with Mitch McConnell refused to issue a joint statement. That's all he had. I mean, so at that point he lost it. But there you go, folks. That's what this whole thing is about. Trump getting it back into motion, getting the wheels greased to have a conversation. If all these people are really upset about a phone call that might happen in 2020 where somebody just calls and it rings and you're like, hello, I got dirt on your opponent. I'm listening. No, you can't do that. Well, are you allowed to set out premeditated and hire people to write a fake dirty a foreign person? That's foreign. They invited the foreign interference. It played out. It didn't work for them in 2016 like they wanted, but they tried to use it in 2018, and it might have worked. I believe it did. I believe they got a lot of stuff on the left because of the noise, because of the fake. Think about it. We all know this, but half the country doesn't, or these people that sit up there perching about what's wrong with Trump doing something, but not dealing. And then people that want to say, it was 2 years ago. No, the ghost of Hillary is still here. The ghost of Hillary's past. She left bombs. Yes, she's been mildly quiet. We know she's kind of come back on the campaign or promoting her book. Her and Bill, they can't sell out seats for $8 on these, last minute get your tickets on these social media sites. Even they're trying to give away the tickets and they can't do it. They can't fill up these seats and crowds. But yet when they were in power, Bill can speak for $500,000 for an hour. Now they can't even talk and sell a book with all their great past. Nobody wants to hear the garbage. So, all right, that was a little bit of rant and raving. We are actually at the mark. What a great video. Look for some more throughout the day, folks. Lots of news breaking. This is a hilarious one to just break that down to you a little bit. So now you saw it. And what do you think? Leave the comments down below. Again, I'm Mike. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless. Godspeed each and every one of you worldwide. We'll see you back here real soon on the next Patriot Hour update video. Have a great morning into your afternoon. And Godspeed.